Hey, we're Nerds United. I'm Jordan.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Nathan. And this is our permanent guest star, Joe.
I mean, semi-permanent.
Semi-permanent guest star.
And today we are talking about background stories, like for your characters for role-playing and how important they are and
like you said,
ideas. You kept trying to interrupt me!
Jordan, go.
Well, you paused.
Well, I'm just trying to be the
sloth of
one of the things about your backstory is it really helps to define your character and their personalities.
Yes.
It kind of it's to show what kind of motivations drive your character to be out and about. Why did they leave their house? What were they doing before the adventure started?
It really sets their place in the world.
It's kind of like writing a book.
In a way, yeah, it kind of is. It can be.
But it's like, instead of writing it down all on a piece of paper, you write down your backstory, and then the role-playing part just kind of takes off from there.
Yeah, and it introduces your character into the world.
It's the prologue to the role-playing community.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Well, Joe, you're the biggest DM that we know around here. You've had to DM so many things.
Is that a fat joke?
Yes, it's a fat joke, Joe.
No,
it's okay. We're all
it's
fat.
a volume joke.
Oh, you smart.
One could say it has mass.
But it's not very dense.
Anyway.
My velocity's low, so I have a lot of energy.
So, Joe, what are your thoughts about players having backstories for their character?
Well, as a DM or GM or however you want to call it, storyteller, I find characters' backstories to be important. It gives the character depth and motivation and a reason for existing, because he did something before session one. I guess one of the important things about a backstory is it should involve what led the character up to his current predicament, why he's doing whatever your game is, whether it be adventuring or vampire or the masquerade or whatever it is, and it also should integrate itself within the campaign in the story set forth by your game master or whatever campaign you're running, whether it be a written campaign like Forgotten Realms for D&D or the standard campaign for World of Darkness or what have you, or some kind of custom universal world that the game master written up. And I think an important part is making your character's background story fit in that campaign world. So when you show up, your character isn't like, my backstory was I was the Lord of Hell up until I was dethroned, and now I'm adventuring to become the Lord of Hell again.
Or
a lot of times.
Or here's my favorite one. That's the one I did to Nathan. I was like, oh yeah, I'm basically the only elf left. They all got destroyed. Who can they get destroyed from?
Did you want to run that by me first?
And I was like, wait, didn't I tell you?
No.
Oh, you mean the background story you didn't give me? Yeah, make sure that you give them the background story so that they know.
All the elves in the world are dead but
okay.
Yeah, except for that entire kingdom that I have in place.
This didn't happen. This is what's happening. So, because the DM makes their own background story, kind of. Well, they make the story.
They make the world.
They make the entire world. So if you do something like that, you really need their permission first.
Well, inevitably, even if it's a published world, they come up with their own towns and like specific takes on how the world will fold it out. So you really should.
You can
maybe
really screw it up.
Yeah.
Like I did, and we were like, this is not what's happening.
Like maybe two factions don't like each other, and you were like, oh, my best friend was from this faction. Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, make sure so that, like what happened with our campaign, it didn't.
Yeah, make sure you run your character background by your DM.
And they usually want your background before, not in the middle.
Before first session.
Also, I know for me at least, a lot of times if somebody does want something, maybe not like the genocide of an entire race, but if they do want something, special with their character, I'm willing to work with them.
The genocide.
And I didn't mean the genocide of an entire race.
You said everyone but you.
And by that, I meant in like that specific kingdom.
That's where all the elves were.
That was the Elven Kingdom.
That was where all the elves were, and you're just like, I'm the only one left in this kingdom. Well, you're the only one left in the world.
And be very specific too. Don't just be like, don't do what I did. Because then it gets really confusing.
Just don't do what she does.
That's not a good idea.
Don't listen to her.
As a general rule, don't do what she does.
Don't do that. I didn't do that in my first background story, but yeah, don't do that.
That was your second one.
My second one, I went all
Your
out.
first one, you tried to be full royalty. I remember.
Oh yeah, I did.
You tried to be royalty.
It worked though.
Loosely.
Honestly. I also
How about,
didn't know I needed a background story.
How about you, Jordan? What do you think about it?
My background stories?
Yeah.
Well, I think they're probably the single most important part of creating a character and getting it into the universe. It tells you, say your character grew up on a farm. Well,
They're going to have different skills from someone who, say, grew up in the church.
right, you grew up on the farm, you're hardworking, you swung an axe cutting wood, you grew plants, you tended to cattle, you probably have some animal husbandry type skills. You probably have some growing skills, or maybe even brewing. You probably are higher in strength because a lot of your stuff was manual labor.
I know one of the things that I find can be fun is make a backstory and then build the stats for the character. Because it can make it more interesting because you can match up your stats with your backstory. Like Jordan was saying.
That's what I did with my most recent character.
And
I found it much easier to make the character and a lot more fun.
right. Probably my favorite character I've played so far was, well, the favorite character with best backstory was actually a game we only ran through like 2 sessions on.
It's the one I think it is.
My little, what was it? I can't remember what race it was, but it was my ranger in Tyler's D&D.
You were like a cat.
Catfolk.
Yeah, Catfolk Ranger.
Where you wanted me to be a divine prostitute.
I still think it would have been great.
I don't think any of us have that book.
But, anyway.
You get your spell slots back.
Still not sleeping with Jordan, Joe.
I would for my spell slots.
But my character basically grew up in a nomadic tribe and then bounced from tribe to tribe, learning new skills, getting trained in some of the, I guess, ranger ways.
They grew up as a hunter. Sounds like.
They grew up as a hunter-gatherer, so a lot of those same skills get applied to the ranger class. Why my character wielded a great axe?
That's all he had.
Because they could.
All she had.
Ranger gets martial weapon proficiency.
I had a lot of female characters.
They're more fun to play than male characters sometimes. I can be a male any day of my life, actually.
In fact, most of them.
Yeah.
That's debatable.
I just wanted to point out that I've noticed that's what you play. I'm not judging.
Well, my
Kind of sounds like you're
I'm
judging.
not judging. It's just a fact.
My Dark Heresy character's male. My Risk character's male.
See, I usually get surprised when you say you play a male character.
Though I find most
she's
men
not
that
judging.
play female
No hate.
characters, their women ended up being sluts.
Not
I
Jordan's.
never ended up being a slut.
Not Jordan's.
Well, I mean, you did sleep with a character before.
In one game.
Is that only one game?
Yeah. And
Oh,
he's the
more
one who
games.
initiated it too, just so you know.
He was?
No, the other guy.
Oh.
Except,
Was
you
it?
know, the character we thought it should become a divine prostitute.
You thought
You
it should
thought.
become a divine prostitute.
Oh, Joe, why don't you tell us about one of your favorite characters' backstories?
Crazy mofo?
A crazy mofo? Well, believe it or not, he actually did have a backstory, not that anybody cared. He was, it's a Shadowrun character, so if you're familiar with Shadowrun, some of this will make more sense. If not, I'll explain it a little bit. He was part of the Ares Macrotechnology military. Now, Ares Macrotechnology is like is a dystopian megacorp in the future, because Shadowrun's a cyberpunk future setting.
And they specialize in weapons, right?
Yeah, they specialize in weapons, but they do a lot of other stuff. They do a lot of consumer goods. Not that any characters ever care about washing machines, for that matter, for the most part.
Ares brand washing machine.
But one of the big
Get more lead than your pistol.
right, for every washing machine you buy, you get one stamp towards your pistol. One of the big things about the game is every major corporation has its own private security and military, which is every bit as every bit as potent and dangerous as actual government militaries, if not more so. Now, the big thing I did was my character was part of this military for many years up until he met an untimely disaster when he was in a military campaign. They called it the Desert Wars, and he got hit by a mine, which blew up most of his body. So once my character started, that's how I explained why he has all these artificial limbs, robotic legs and arms and torso and head, why he was completely artificial for the most part.
Did you just make the background story for RoboCop?
Yes, I do love RoboCop. And to be fair, I came up with the backstory of him getting blown up and turned into a mechanical monster before the new RoboCop.
Fair enough.
I did do the bomb thing based on the new RoboCop. I did that on my own because in the original RoboCop he was shot, not just blown up by a bomb.
Fair enough.
Well, Nathan, did you tell us about yours? I don't remember.
I haven't told mine yet. No, my favorite character, I think, when it's from the Dark Heresy setting, which is Warhammer 40k. It's what I like to refer to as my stealth psyker. He wasn't very sneaky, but it was a caster. Well, technically a caster. It's psychic powers. In Warhammer 40k, being a psyker is kind of extremely frowned upon. It's, most people want to kill you just for being a psyker.
They don't trust them.
They don't trust them, and with good reason.
They can fall to chaos.
Exactly.
Easily.
They can summon demons. That never happens.
We're not going to talk about
We're not going into that right now.
We never do that.
We're not going into that one right now. But, so one of the things that he did was he tried his best to make sure nobody knew that he was a psyker. So doing things like only casting spells outside of the line of sight of his party, or covering it up somehow, like yelling bang when he shot someone with a shotgun. In other words, he used a psychic power that just caused their heart and head to explode instead. It kind of resembles a shotgun. But ultimately, they never actually found out that my character was a psyker. Like, the players definitely knew, but the characters never found out.
Well, to be fair, most people don't have the skills to know the difference between psychic powers, and
they were beginning to suspect something was up when their bodies were exploding spontaneously, and my guy was just yelling bang.
Conversion Beaver could do that.
Hallucinogen grenades, thank you. I saved the entire party that day.
Well, yeah.
I wanted to say my favorite one.
Fine.
I didn't.
Say your favorite one, Ashley. God, you take up all our time.
Whatever. My favorite one is actually the one that I recently did, a vampire character. And not everybody I know died. Okay, just my parents. My brother and I survived. It was like a mafia hit or something. I don't know. I'm still working out the details for that, but
it's your favorite, even though you don't know how it went down.
well, I'm still trying to figure out if it's like a mafia or if it was just like this really bad car crash. I'm not really sure, but
it was a mafia car crash.
Anywho, whatever. We got in the middle of like this fight or whatever between the mafias or gangs or whatever, and my character's stats is mostly based on like fighting and like investigation for like police knowledge and stuff. Because when I got turned, my dad's friend was a cop, and he came up to the scene, and we had basically I do melee, I do archery. I'm very like flexible and acrobatic. Like basically I can either hit you hard or I'm a stealth fighter, and that just came from a background.
Why not both? I said, why not both?
Well, that's basically what it is, and that's just coming from. And I'm good at investigation because of the whole police thing, but like my dad had taught me like martial arts and stuff like that, and I was more interested in learning like all different kinds of fighting techniques, and that was before I turned to a vampire.
Yeah, this was Vampires the Masquerade, if it wasn't obvious.
Yeah, it's
You
the
never
LARP
actually-
I'm in.
you never
Sorry,
actually said
it's the
this.
LARP I'm in. Because, and it takes a little bit to get your background characters and like, The most elaborate one I had was probably the one that I screwed up for you. And I still have it written up, and like the way I wrote it, I was like, oh, I gave like my sister, like my family's name. It was really good. And if you're more in depth like that, sometimes it helps you get more into your character. So
It does.
Well, I think that's all the time we have for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video.
You know, we enjoyed talking about it, I think. Did you enjoy it?
It was nice.
I did. I think we were mostly thinking about like.
It was nice to hear some of the other people's stories too, because I definitely didn't know about Mofo.
I knew he'd been in the Desert Wars and had choked on a few gas grenades, but
Choked on a few. Well, I tell you, people tend to forget that he existed before he was a Shadowrunner.
all right. Well, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you like it. Comment down below.
Like, favorite, subscribe, if you want to.
If you don't, whatever. You just don't need to be our people.
We won't take it as an insult. Well,
And if you insult us, we won't even be that mad.
yeah, we really won't care.
We do us.
Hate us,
We
give
do
us more power.
Hate flows strong within us.
So hateful.
The social media will be down below.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.